Square one. If the code and the comments disagreed, then both are probably wrong. Norm Schreier. Los Angeles, California, May 10th, 2014, 8:43 a.m., 59 seconds. Their orders in, the best moment by Anwar and Xanther 2, waiting on a satisfying, inevitable, hungers claims solved, hungers cries rendered irrelevant, Square One dining on Fountain west of Vermont, across from the Scientology Center, is Xanther's favorite treat, even if most of the items on the menu remain off limits. In support of his daughter's diet, Anwar abstained from ordering his favorite, the brioche French toast, always moist but never runny, a key distinction for Astaire, slathered with butter and grade A maple syrup. It's the dish they share whenever they can escape from the kids for what they like to call their egg date. "Are you sure you didn't want the French toast?" Xanther asked. Of course Xanther would notice, would know, would care. How does a 12-year-old come to possess such a magnanimous heart? "I was in the mood for something less indulgent, daughter." Anwar had also abstained from coffee, trying to quit kafaya, trying to sleep better, trying to forget the headache drilling out from just above his right eye. 1 out of 3 wasn't bad. Enough. They split the plate of scrambled eggs instead, eggs which Xanther permitted because they were locally sourced and humanely farmed. It didn't hurt that they also came amply loaded with extra cheddar, along with slices of tomato and avocado, dolloped with sour cream, set down beside a bowl of fruit topped with yogurt and a wealth of ground nuts. Ketogenic restrictions mandated that Anwar take the lion's share of the fruit, which Xanther has no problem with, given her excessive delight in sharing. "Are we late?" Xanther asks, digging in. Plenty of time. In fact, Xanther's appointment isn't until 10 a.m. 10:10 a.m. actually, the big surprise not until later that afternoon at 3 p.m. in Venice to the tune of $20,000. The number still staggers Anwar, staggers Astaire as well, and it was her idea. But what was infeasible in April suddenly became nearly advisable when Etsistam called yesterday and declared he was with check in hand. MET, $50,000. Xanther's surprise, negative $20,000. Astaire's MA/PhD, negative $20,000. Extras for the twins, negative $10,000. Adds to zero. That zero as round as happiness, surrounding and comforting his family, hard pressed since they first moved here. Anwar could live with such a zero. And, will anyone else beside Eddie be there? Glasgow? Ever curious, ever asking to a degree that never ceased to amaze both him and Astaire, and worry them too. This about his one-ish appointment. Possibly even Talbot. And this, is all about the game? In a manner of speaking. The game engine? Anwar nods. I still don't understand that. Brows creased with the weight of the world, and this time just for one word. Is it an engine like metal, or runs the thing, or how does it work, or what does it even look like? And I know you've tried to explain it before, 3 times, 4 times? You've been working on it for how long now? Months, right? Years? Sorry. What can Anwar do but smile? She caught herself, heard the pace of the ratcheting tonal rise, her fabled and feared question song. "Well," Anwar begins slowly, savoring still the cheddar and eggs, far more than the tepid tea in his cup. "First and foremost, daughter, it's a metaphor, and metaphors at times are useful, at other times misleading. Let me ask you a question. What makes a car run? The engine? Good. But what makes the engine run?" Questions always help Xanther quiet because they give her answers, whereas answers only give her more questions. Gasoline? Good. The engine itself isn't the gasoline. It's the structure designed to contain, ignite, and harness that energy. And it requires many parts. In my world, those parts may include graphics, physics, rendering, things like hit detection and AI. Instead of inventing all those from scratch, like reinventing the wheel? Good. I can construct an engine comprised of those gears and manifolds, focusing then on the ones that matter most to me. Like AI? Yes, daughter, like AI. Though in truth, while Anwar never ceased to love the high romanticism of AI, especially in college, he now considered it either, one, beyond him, or better left to those synaptic saints capable of delving into the true meaning of intelligence, let alone artificial, or two, a set of fairly predictable routines and subroutines. And that drives the game? Your engine? MET? My job is to plastically fashion a program which smoothly coordinates various parts in order to deliver a smoothly running vehicle. Question. Plastic, from the Greek plastikos, meaning to mold, or here, to mold into one. Though that's not your word for today. Today's word is paradise. Paradise? But, I already know what that means. Everyone does. Do share, daughter. A perfect place. A place of peace, without hurt, without sick. A good place, without even death. Some say it's heaven, but we don't believe in heaven. But where do you think the word comes from? More hot water? The waiter interrupts. He's waited on them numerous times. Is his name Louise? Esther would remember his name. Slipping the check into a small tin bucket. Curious custom of the place. No hurry. The flood's upon us. Outside, the rain had grown even more severe, turning fountain into a shy sea. Cars slogged by, wakes left behind. The Scientology building seems a smear of blue, chalk blue, like a sidewalk painting dissolving under the convictions, or is it insistence, of nature, or is this just Anwar's wishful thinking? Anwar declines the offer of more hot water, focusing on Xanther, mouthing the word over and over, testing the syllables for known meanings, even if the etymology is beyond her ability to guess. Okay, so if, this afternoon, Eddie's there at Cemetery? Cementera. And Glasgow, and maybe, even Talbot will, be there too? Who? Mephisto? When was the last time Anwar had even seen Mephisto face to face? A year? At least, not even on Skype. And then, just a few days ago, out of the blue, we mentioned the cat and it showed up bouncing. An actual phone call or message, lengthy too, from the genius himself, Master Yugen, Mr. E-Mind Extraordinaire, Mephisto Dazine, no joke, real programming genius, RPG, who had bested his hero, Mel A, before dispensing with his teenage years, who had never stopped believing in machine intelligence, like he never stopped saying intelligence without effect is no such thing. Suddenly there, on the home's voicemail, just hours before the telephonic seizure, with warnings, coughing up incomplete apologies about how a prank of his for web advertisement and distribution scheme had gone wildly astray. Prank? It was never supposed to go live. Or as they still say about Skynet, it's, out of our hands. Consequently, probably, Anwar fails to resist now peeking at his phone. Feel the pain. Voicemail, full. Missed calls, 117. Text messages, 2,187. Emails. Anwar can't even check his accounts. Talk about rising bile. Bilious objection to such a casual introjection, invasion of thought, prank, terrorism. What were you thinking, Mephisto? I thought we agreed no phones. Xanther only recently received a phone, partially furred, pink encased, a smartphone, what Xanther's friend Klee once called a lucid phone, which Anwar only later realized he had misheard. Dad, Klee says it's a lucid phone. because that's the fate of expensive things in the hands of a child. He and Astaire wanted her to have one for her own protection mainly, but only if she agreed to abide by all parental restrictions, what Anwar nicknamed electronic self-restraint lessons, ESL. Typical of this child, Xanther is now more responsible than those demanding the restriction. Dear Xanther, love of his life, or one of his 3 loves, or 5, can he really not count himself? Doing so well, wonderfully well, especially since considering everything what had, especially before which the memory of that day rising up, that moment never not there, if already 4 months old. Anwar's thoughts torque even more, invert and bind in the absurd code that mocks any actual lines of his trade. Forget C++, Lua, Python, Java, even Clojure, for example. Meted out in the very cages Astaire has described at times as her own thoughts, though rounder, more parental. How we found each other, she once surmised. Leaving Anwar to dream of the day, would such a day ever exist, where he could standard output his own thoughts, even the thoughts of others, Astaire's, his daughters, friends, and find some calculable sense? Int main, standard, : count, my thoughts unallowed look like this, / and return 0, which that output, this exercise, still achieves the opposite, clamping down on Anwar's every ability to process, following close brace, what had again provoked beyond encoding, forget decoding, forget Mephisto. Neither in machine language nor anything remotely logical is it all just reading anyway, in a manner that might never be traced and though so then forever personal, and so still feel closed, locked, sealed. Such terrible dark light, blinding it in all, it still must insist on seeing, over and over, Merry Christmas! Warnings had been all over the place. Xanther's fidgeting, escalating too, how she'd shuffled and shimmied, a soft shoe without taps, and sweated too, with that weird heat, never a fever, scalding her forehead, even as she shivered and complained of feeling so cold. Why is the coffin locked? And can't we open it? And why can't I see him? And just once, one last time? And please, how bad can it be? And are we even sure Dove's in there? Were there really any answers, let alone parental comforts, that Anwar or Astaire might have offered? To this day, Anwar can come up with none. He and Astaire did try to mute the question song as they slowly made their way to Arlington National Cemetery, along with the honor guard and horse-drawn caisson, and the rain. It had been raining that day too. Why should they have treated Xanther's routine curiosity any different from any other day? Curiosity was her constant. Then at the grave site, knock-kneed and trembling, before his lacquered casket, shiny with her reflection, if also smeared by the fingertips of passing mourners, so many mourners, making known their implausible desires to deny this black gloss by reaching out and touching it. As the military band's silver and dark rain gear played on, as rifles volleyed, as the regimented 8, easing from strict attention, began carefully to fold the flag. He promised it to me, strangely and repeatedly too. What's that, daughter? Anwar asked, attempting to determine the referent for it, Astaire feeling Xanther's forehead again, both of them only then, starting to worry. Already too late. It was already there. Now look who's thinking about Dove. How does she do that? Anwar always struggles to keep track, even lose track, of his daughter's wild imagination. Very loose. But moments like these, demonstrating her acute sensitivities, continue to catch him off guard, if delightfully and proudly so. I miss him, Anwar admits, even as he briefly considers the plausible lie that he was thinking up. Mephisto revenge scenarios, despite instincts to the contrary, all too human. Anwar does not lie in this way, maybe in this way alone. He and Dove had been very similar, which included outlawing the insidious perpetuation of tooth fairies. God forbid the Easter Bunny. God forbids God. Given the circumstances of how they met, it was nothing short of a modern-day miracle that Anwar and Dove had ended on such good, even affectionate, terms. While those friends who knew the story were boggled by the conclusion, Anwar deeply depressed by the horrifying, if honorable, death, more so than even Astaire. After all, there was no getting around two simple facts. 1. Anwar and Astaire began their courtship when she was 3 months pregnant with Xanther. 2. Dove was Xanther's biological father. Anwar counts out the cash, tip 20%, catching the waiter's eye across the room, has to be Louise, and then, palms together, bows slightly. The next appointment isn't far, Xanther's, with Dr. Potts, but the deluge outside will overwhelm even clocks. Xanther puts on her orange raincoat, snaps all the way up, takes Anwar's hand. I love the smell of coffee, but, what do I really love? Where do I, even, get that from? If Dove didn't drink coffee and you're, quitting coffee and Mom has to drink coffee, right?
Two parents of this little lifetime always drinking coffee.
Or French toast, which has, too much sugar for me to eat. Eat safely, but I still, love to see it, Just as a plate of something yellowy and buttery reaches a nearby table, Anwar should have had the French toast. And so is just smelling or just seeing a kind of eating too? Ready? Anwar asks, ushering them outside. Their car is only a half a block away, but swimming pools of Storm await them, not even a foot beyond the narrow brown awning. Xanther nods but doesn't move, frozen, except for her nose, wiggling now like she's about to sneeze, though whenever she does actually sneeze, her nose never wiggles beforehand, seemingly transfixed by the sheets of water crashing down with enough force that both Anwar's and her legs are sprayed, hands too still holding tight, even their faces. Xanther's thick lenses have already fogged. Where did he go? Xanther whispers, almost as if to the storm. Anwar exhales, approving nonetheless of a question he will fail trying to answer, fail at even handling. Is he just gone? She continues. Or did he go somewhere else? And if he did, where is he now? And if he didn't, still, where is he now? Anwar takes a second breath as he considers a response. Earlier in the car, when Xanther mentioned Dove, Anwar had chosen not to say anything. It had been a mistake. For a moment, Anwar even thought her silence had signaled she was getting sick. If our family had taken to the comforts of religion, I could offer up for you now the promise of heaven, even hell. Remember, while hell may be a place of misery, it still perseveres, promising perpetual preservation, continuation. Again, the rain seems to increase. Reincarnation is another option, and in terms of material, inarguable. However, whether some kind of awareness survives is something else entirely. Still, daughter, there is no question the matter that made up Dove will find a place again in this grand universe. After all these particles we're made up of are not exactly new. Quite the contrary. The atoms making up the water falling around us are over 9 billion years old. The atoms that make up you and me, the same. We are all of us used parts. Our newness lies only in parts rearranged. Okay, Professor. Anwar sighs. Okay, daughter. Fair enough. You are not concerned about the reusable nature of our building blocks, correct? Xanther nods. Your question is about identity, and what of ourselves we can lose without losing ourselves. Now, you know I'm too pragmatic to believe in some afterlife boardwalk where souls wander in search of pacifying ambrosia, in the way, when I was your age, I used to wander with my parents along the Corniche in Alexandria, searching for shaved ice sweetened with grenadine. Do you know what pragmatic means? Dad! Practical. How do you spell it? Anwar smiles as Xanther takes out a pen and scribbles on the back of her right hand, Pragmatic, followed by ambrosia and Corniche, no matter if most of it smears in the wet. Your mom agrees with this, though I'd hardly limit her sense of life and death to merely pragmatic. She's smarter than all of us, combined. And Dove? Your father was just too brave to go in for those kinds of fantasies. Bravest man I ever knew. So then, he's really just gone? Not at all. Huh? What's the last thing you remember of him? The last thing? I don't know. He called me... Does calling count? It all counts. The last time I saw him, though, New York, went after, with you and Mom in the park. Can you picture it? Xanther closes her eyes against the rain, against Anwar, against how many thoughts to even try to get there. Who knows? Yes. Do you remember what he was doing? I remember what he was saying. How well? Perfectly, I think. But yeah, his voice is in my head now. Every word. He was explaining the dumb dog. Anwar grins. The dumb dog was another one of those classic Doveisms. Part parable, part homily, mostly bullshit. Dove knew it too, and let you know he knew it, which sold it. Twangly delivered with such understated authority, Anwar could almost picture it. Him. Well, there he is. Where? Eyes flying open, glasses off, lenses all fogged, searching in the rain. Right in your head. Anwar lightly taps her temple. Safe and sound. Not that Anwar expects this answer to satisfy, but Xanther, bravely even, accepts the trick. Then he's here too? Xanther suddenly tapping, ever so lightly, and with the slightest smile, Anwar's temple. How much, vastly, immensely, unfathomably, tremendously, Anwar loves his child. It continues to take him by surprise, even when she confounds him with the havoc of her room, for example, which she will proudly defend as clean, those beautiful messes, beautiful even today. Even as, in the next moment, she will astonish Anwar with her fearless interest in life, despite the harrowing blows life continues to deliver her and so delivers to Anwar. A sweet memory, too. Sheep's meadow, sunny serendipity, Xanther on Dove's shoulders, Xanther's questions, Dove flummoxed, Dove singing. Anwar would do anything for her. Of course he is in here. Right now, in fact. Xanther squints at Anwar's head, as if to see, as if she could, for herself, for them both. Their no-bones army man striding beneath a blue and untroubled Manhattan sky, rendering Anwar powerless to do anything but kiss now his dear daughter on the forehead, spattered in rain, that peculiar warmth. Shall we brave this storm? Anwar asks, opening their big orange umbrellas. Okay, Xanther hesitates. But if Dove's in you and Dove's like you said, in me, so that now he's in both of us, shared by us, which, if he's not half in each of us, but still whole to each of us, means he's sort of beyond both of us too? Xanther's squinting even more as she peers ever more intently, not at Anwar anymore, but on this downpour nearly drowning out their thoughts. Does that mean that Dove's also out there? Los Angeles, California, May 10th, 2014, 9:19 a.m., 20 seconds.